up guys, S-Man back at it again with a brand new review. Not of Horizons, but of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC Part 2, the Indigo Disc, along with the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero ending. Now let's get right into this video, and make sure you guys subscribe and like more content like this in the future, because I do want to shift alongside the what ifs and actual anime reviews to more gaming stuff, where I review and talk about characters from the game. So yeah, let's get right into the review. Before anything, I just want to say, I did in fact catch a shiny Piplup for this playthrough. Shiny Piplup was among my team, which I rotated throughout depending on the battle. I did have some other terrarium Pokemon like a Zebstrika, Archaludon, Excadrill that I, gonna be honest, I think I switched out every battle, or every battle it was in, it didn't get used. So yeah, and that was really it for Pokemon I used during the terrarium. A lot of it was just like higher levels than what I was catching, so I'm like, I kind of want to rush through the story, so I was using my Kitakami and more like base team Pokemon that were a lower level compared to all the other NPCs. But now with that out of the way, let's get into what I dislike about this. The main thing really being the BB quests. Like, they're so annoying and tedious, especially if you play alone. I know they are better if you're playing with friends, but at the point before I beat the DLC, I did not have Switch Online. I have it now and can access the BB quest at a more efficient rate. But that still annoyed me because at that point, I was trying to complete the game with a shiny Piplup. So first off, I had to grind every BB quest just to get the Piplup extension in the terrarium and then shiny hunt it. It only really took like 3 sandwich rotations, but still, it was a lot of work just to have a shiny Piplup that was getting one-shot most of the game. But hey, shiny Piplup did in fact one-shot one of Drayton's Pokemons on my first try in the battle. So that's all that matters. The second try it got one shot, I got 2-shot actually, but it did deal some damage and helped out for the battle. And besides that, it's really just complaints with Scarlet and Violet, lag, and just the lack of new Pokemon in Terrarium. From this DLC, the only new Pokemon we really got were Archaludon, Hydraplin, and just the legendary Mythicals that I will come out with the Mochi Mayhem subplot once I finish it. In the future, when that comes out, I will make a video on it. And I just think that's the whole like meme behind it is hilarious, but yeah. And all these Pokemon were already revealed, except for the paradoxes, but I mean, not even the paradoxes, we did know about most of them, except for 2, but like, they weren't looking good, so yeah. And Hydrapple was also surprised, but like, it would have been way better if we didn't know Dipplin was evolving. So yeah, that was really just a bummer on new Pokemon. But yeah, it was basically the same complaints I had with the teal mask, and I just think it improved. But let's get right into some of the positives. First off, before I talk about the story, I want to end this off with the story. I just gotta say, the terrarium is so fun to explore. It's actually one of the probably best locations in the entirety of Scarlet and Violet. Kitakami was nice, but like, it was just kind of boring and bland with the Pokemon selection, and most areas in actual Paldea were uninteresting, besides really Area Zero, in my opinion. They were just like generic. Yeah, this area is generic, but I definitely think it's interesting. This giant open world where you can go into 4 biomes and have a variety of Pokemon. You can catch a Alolan form Pokemon, just native Unova Pokemon, forms of Pokemon you can't even get in actual Paldea, like the Tauros. Like, that was nice. And just all like the secrets in the map. I haven't explored a lot, but I've heard of stuff like there's a Rhydon with a water that references like a specific episode of the anime. I found the cave where it's designed just like Legends Arceus, and there's just a bunch of torches, and there's one trainer who I actually whooped in there, so yeah. And other details like the Gen 5 Nature Preserve and that Haxorus being a Stellar type Haxorus, which I haven't found that yet. Or at least I did before the Stellar type Haxorus spawns there, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. And this actually is better than last thing. Although there not being many new Pokemon, the selection was actually more diverse and more cooler, because we have all the starters first off. We have Pokemon like Lapras roaming around, Seals, Dugongs, and just like other Pokemon like that. We have Doduos, Executor, both regular and Alolan within like close distance from each other, and just like all those kinds of Pokemon, in which I did think it was interesting. And just other cool features like the synchronization. I hardly use that so far because I mainly just beat the story and did a couple of side things. I haven't even done Perrin's full story, so I don't know where that's going. I just know you catch up. You catch all the Pokemon in the end, so I was just going to complete that when I complete the deck, so we'll see where that goes. I also haven't done any of the tutors like yet because that requires a lot of BB points grinding, and I'd rather use those points to upgrade the terrarium first so I can complete the deck. So yeah, well, that's another thing where we'll see where that goes. I also just started the Team Star thing. Didn't fully do it, but I do think it's kind of cool that we're getting a continuation with these side characters more than just Penny, and I think this is a better alternative than those little static cutscenes we got just like when you explore the school with Penny and just see them like interacting. I think it's cool that we see them more adapt into the school life and we see them without their cool uniforms, and I think Aerie is adorable without hers. But with all that out of the way, I can't avoid it anymore. The story. The entire BB League is just really good. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. First off, you meet the director and he invites you to school. I think he's an interesting character, but not a lot of substance because he is just that, a character. He is just a director and he forgets things. Then you meet Lacey and then you just go to the terrarium, do a class, reunite with Carmine, and then you're introduced to the BB League and Drayton convinces you to join. Now, to basically sum up my thoughts, I just want to talk about each character individually. First up is Crispin. Crispin, the trial was kind of annoying with all the food, and I had to keep remaking the sandwiches because I would miss like one ingredient, and that kind of got on my nerves. But besides that, Crispin's fight was hard. Most fights here were hard, which I appreciate, but like it's more just I didn't know what the team was gonna be. So I just run in Pokemon that I caught throughout the terrarium, and a lot of them were lower levels from theirs, so they got whooped. And then once I know what the full team was, I just switched in Pokemon that would be more beneficial, like a Palafin, and then I'd whoop them. That's literally it. Crispin is my least favorite of the BB Elite Four, and it coincidentally goes in order as you're supposed to fight them, and I also did that order because I wanted to finish off with Lacey and Drayton. Mainly because Drayton comes for you throughout the story, and Drayton's a main character here, and I love him, and I want to talk about him more later. Next up is, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember her name. It's the Steel-type one. Yeah, she's interesting. She's friends with Carmine and wants to help Kieran. That's really it. Compared to Crispin, she is more involved in the main Kieran, Carmine, and just whole BB League being under influence from Kieran's storyline, which I'll talk about right now. I think it's definitely cool seeing Kieran just snap, go back to the academy, and just begin to rule with it from Iron Fist. And then once you visit from Carmine trying to get help to take down Kieran, I just think that whole thing is interesting. But yeah, her fight more or less the same. Lost the first time, then I had more Pokemon that could help, and then I beat it. And the only really thing to come out of her really is flight, permanent flight, which I think is a useful feature and is fun to fly around. Yeah, her and Crispin aren't really that like impactful as characters to me personally. I think she is more impactful than Crispin, like I said, because of her story connection, but the other two characters I like way more. That being Lacey, who is confirmed to be Clay's daughter, and I just love this connection. I hope we see more characters that are tied into past characters in the future. Because, like, I definitely think it's interesting that, especially with Legends Arceus, we were getting all these ancestors that may or may not be connected characters, with some more obvious ones like Volo and Miss whatever her name was being related to Cynthia. And then there's characters like the farmer guy potentially being related to the grass gym leader of Sinnoh, like, and those connections are interesting. I love like that Lacey here, they don't directly say, oh, it's Clay, but like, and you wouldn't be able to guess it based on her design and just her team, besides Excadrill obviously, but like, I definitely think that's interesting that we are getting to see descendants of past characters. I think it would be cool to see more. Like maybe in the future, we have like a Legends game that takes place in the future. Like maybe like a Legends Alola game where Ultra Beasts have taken over Alola, and we see like the kids of like all the Island Kahunas, the kids of like Lily, Gladion, like taking over the Aether Foundation, Mallow's kids. Yeah. But yeah, I really like her character too. She's so fun. She's like just like the serious, but could also be so goofy with her old cutie attitude. And she's like also an op because she was like, you can't join the BB League, you're an outsider, even though I just became friends with you. And like we're friends with her, and it's just really cool. And she's like one of the more interesting characters of these DLC. She doesn't do a lot, but I do enjoy her time and the time you spend with her. And I think the little cute like X thing she does and like her relationships with the other characters were definitely fun to watch. But we've moved on to the best character of this DLC, my boy Drayton. Drayton's like the best character to come out of this entire game, besides like Nemona and Arven and Kieran. Like Drayton is the GOAT. First off, Drayton is the Elite Four member you spend the most time with, going on a date with him. Yep, in game he says, come on a date with me, and Carmine gets jealous. I think it's so funny when you're a man, because Drayton swings both ways. He wants to go on a date with you, but this date is more manipulation to get his goal. Now, I don't really share anime takes on this channel, but some of my favorite anime include Classroom the Elite, where Ayana Koji is this like manipulator who manipulates anyone to get his own like goals accomplished and help his class increase in the school. And he does like crazy things, like he breaks a girl mentally till she falls in love with him and then just uses her permanently just as a pawn. Drayton doesn't go that far, but like he does manipulate a lot to get what he wants. But his goals are more pure. He just wants the league club to go back to where it is, and even Kieran to be a happy kid. Like he says after you fight him, Kieran was once this like kid who just watched battles and was happy and just cheered him on. But like after the events of the Kitakami trip, he just became more aggressive and just power hungry. This led to Drayton to basically force you into the BB League, take down all the gym leaders, as he goes around after each and every one saying, way to go, my champion, can't wait for your battle, can't wait to see you take on the crown. Like, he just is your #1 supporter, even if it is like through like malice intent. His trial and fight were also interesting. Only fighting with terrarium Pokemon was easy for the trial. I kind of just one-shotted every one of his trainers. And then I thought you were supposed to do it for the fight with him, so I got in, and then he rocked me. But that's when my Piplup did one-shot one of his Pokemon, and that was the happiest moment I've been in this entire DLC. Drayton's just whole personality of like failing on purpose so he could stay the top student at the school is also really freaking funny. That he's like repeated the school year like 3 times and is the top student, and that's why he repeats. I just think that's so funny. And then when he gets asked to go to Area Zero, he's like, I kind of don't want to. I want to like help my friends deal with the BB League situation. But then Carmine just calls him out for his bullshit, and he just says, oh yeah, you're right, I just don't want to go. But the coldest thing is when you beat Kieran, and Drayton just goes up to him and says, great battle, you two. I'm so proud of both of you, my friends. It's a shame of the outcome, ex-champion. Oh my god, that scene was crazy, and just like, if I was Kieran, I would have murdered him, but like, that's just what makes him great. I think the asshole kind of rival is cool if you make him like this, where he's just like, he's not a horrible guy, he's just like petty, that Kieran knocked him down. Because he stayed in this academy just so he can remain champion, and to get knocked down by Kieran of all people. So he figures out your past with him and how you always beat him, and that's what led him to beat him. So he convinces you to fight him again, just so he can like rub it in his face after like you beat him. Like, he doesn't care that he is not champion and he didn't beat him himself. He's just happy that Kieran got knocked down a peg, and I love it. And then this leading to the announcement going, could Drake champion Kieran, Drayton, Carmine, and your character please come down to the office? Just for him to go, damn, they need to change that. I guess they didn't hear the news. That was crazy. I love Drayton so much. Well, another really good character was Kieran. Kieran's whole just personality shift throughout the DLC was incredible. Like, we barely see him throughout the academy, like him just showing up every once in a while. I'm stronger. I can't wait for our fight. But just the shift from the meek boy to this guy is incredible. I'm gonna make a whole video about it eventually. And it's probably gonna just be an hour of me like going, oh my god, Kieran, oh my god, Kieran, incredible. But yeah, I think the funniest part about this is I didn't struggle with his battle. I kind of whooped him. And that's what made it even funnier. Because, like, I struggled with the Elite Four, and then I just whooped their champion. Like, and then the fact that afterwards, before you go to Briar and talk about the whole thing, you can just take a bunch of selfies with him to press. I did that. I think it's hilarious. Like, El Bozo, he took out most of my team except for one Pokemon, and I love his freak out to the ogre. Oh my god, that the whole special dialogue for using Ogerpon is incredible. It made me use Ogerpon in specific fights. My Ogerpon got one-shotted in the fight against Kieran, but it was worth it just for the dialogue. But yeah, with the whole Baby League plot done, and I just want to continue Kieran later on when I talk about the hidden treasure of Area Zero. This part was definitely less interesting and less climactic as I thought it would be because of what happens, so I'll get right into that. Spoilers, obviously. Spoilers for the whole video, I should have said at the beginning, but yeah. Before going into that, I want to talk about the whole reason there is Terra energy in the place. I think that's interesting, and that Briar is able to artificially create terrestrialization. Maybe in future games, we can see more areas with specifically terrestrialization. It would be cool for, like, the anime, like, say, like, the next World Championship, they make a special stadium with, like, special terrestrialization along with Dynamax, because they control Eternatus now and could create infinite Dynamax particles, so they can, like, I don't know, maybe make a custom stadium in the center of the ocean where Dynamax is available, along with terrestrialization. Yeah, let's just see that happen and bring it to the games. I kind of want to fight. And, like, with all gimmicks, it would be cool. I want to, like, do that for a game. Gen 10, please. Gen 10, bring back every character for a world championship. That would be incredible. But yeah, once you go down to Area Zero, it's kind of like 30 minutes of just, oh, beat this Terra Pokemon. And that was the boring part. I don't like the Stellar type. Sorry, but, like, I think it's stupid. I think it should have been Terapagos exclusive. And that's it. It fits for Terapagos, but not really just anything else. I don't like it that much. And I think the mechanic of it is just a worse version of terrestrialization, so I'd rather not just use it. So yeah. This is where the best part of this DLC happens, where you find Lico's pendant in a wall, take it out, and it becomes Terapagos. But the second Terapagos crawls to you, Kieran pulls out a Master Ball and just catches it. But for context, you do get a Master Ball after becoming very Academy champion, so that's why Kieran has one. But yeah, this scene was just sick. He pulls out the Master Ball and steals it from you before another Ogerpon situation happens, and I think that's hilarious. But yeah, then you fight him, you whip him again. I think it's so funny that you can, like, beat him a second time with no struggle, just for him to lose control of Terapagos after Briar urges him on to fight at full strength, and he just loses it, and then you gotta fight it. This scene was actually very beautiful, and apparently people struggled with this Terapagos fight. Couldn't be me. I lost 2 Pokemon, Ogerpon and Scarlet. Scarlet took half of its health, and Ogerpon I only set out to just set up my my Meowscarada having a boosted Flower Bomb along with its Terra with the Grassy Surge. And this whole, like, thing is Kieran's having a mental breakdown while, like, Briar is just, oh my god, Terapagos, oh my god, the secrets. Like, there's a scene where he's, like, ripping the pendant out of the wall, and he's like saying, "I'm gonna finally win. I'm not a failure." Blah 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 blah. While she's just like ignoring his feelings as his teacher and just saying, "Oh, my research." Blah 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 blah. But yeah, the fight with Terapagos, where Carmine slowly convinces Kieran to join before you and him take down Terapagos together, and he lets you catch it. Beautiful scene, and the whole ending of just him apologizing for everything and just wanting to be friends again, like you guys were for 2 days. Beautiful, and that's just it. The whole story of Scarlet and Violet is done. Besides the epilogue, which we'll talk about later, Kieran wasn't possessed, and I think that's funny after all the predictions. And yeah, I just think this DLC was a fun play and just beautiful story. The whole 2-part story of the DLC is just incredible to watch, and just a beautiful story about Kieran, Carmine, you, and Terapagos, and the Ogre. Like, everything just comes together from both DLCs. Sadly, you don't get to see Arven, Nemona, and Penny get involved. I would have loved that. It would have just made this feel like one complete story after all, but yeah. Wait, there's a post-credit scene where you meet Turo or Sada? That's actually sick, and you get to talk to him. Oh, that part was so cool. I got spoiled on that from like TikTok and like Twitter, but when I learned that you can find Turo and Sada, I thought that my jaw dropped. I'm like, wait, what? Because the possibilities this led to are just of what Terapagos is and what these characters were, because it wasn't the AI, it was Turo and Sada. And he even talks about, I may not even be from your timeline. But then you go back to his research lab, the notes are different. He has Briar's book, because you give him Briar's book and he gives you a self-written copy of his time machine and just like the entire Violet book. But just what this means for overall Terapagos and just the anime and just everything revolving around the story. What if we get a third DLC where you can finally reunite Arven with his dad? Probably not, but still. There's just hope. But overall, this DLC, I'll give it a 8 out of 10. I think the story is better than the Crown Tundra, but the gameplay of Crown Tundra is better. So I feel it like evens out. Crown Tundra's story was weak as hell. I don't enjoy it. It's not even like interesting compared to this incredible masterpiece of just a story. This is probably one of the better Pokemon stories. There's obviously way better stories like Black, White too, but Scarlet and Violet is just like a really good story on its own. But then like adding in the context of like the entirety of just the DLCs and just having like this one full complete story, it's a really good story. I just hate that like the segregation of like Kieran and Carmine from characters like Nemona, Penny, Arven, and just it kind of feels the story to make a little chopped, even though it results in the similar outcomes. Because like you literally go back to Turo's lab and reference, oh yeah, me and my friends were here with Professor Turo, but like you don't at all mention Penny, Arven, or Nemona throughout the DLC. Compared to and then the gameplay after the story, there's not really much to do besides BB quests, like, and just other stuff. Compared to Crown Tundra, where you had Galarian Star Tournament, which we do have it in this game with the Academy Quest Tournament, which I don't like it. It's so stupid. Like, to be fair, it was definitely fun, like, battling, like, the first couple of times, but it's really the same characters. It would be much more fun if it were the teachers, Gita, Penny, Arven, Nemona, and the gym leaders, and then we have an updated one where you get Carmine, Kieran, the BB Elite Four, regular Elite Four as well, and just everyone, like Serrano, like, yeah. Just literally everyone would be better. And then a better raid system, like Dynamax layers, those were so fun. I wish we got something like that, like where you go into Area 0 and maybe like there's more researchers there because of how safe you made it by taking out Terapagos than just like exploring there multiple times. Maybe like Briar's like down there permanently, like she retires from school and like creates this thing where it's like, Oh, terror dungeon where you just catch different terror Pokemon, resulting in legendaries, which would have been a better alternative to the snack guy and those stupid legendary quests that you can't even shiny hunt for. Like, what's the point of making them static encounters if you can't shiny hunt? But yeah, I hope you guys like this video and subscribe for more content like this in the future. S-Man, signing off.